could you please talk about the impetus for acquiring Scutaro and again what you see his role in here in these last 60 games or so?
Well, I think it's no secret we're looking for depth and experience. Pablo's situation is pending, but we'll have a decision probably tomorrow, one way or the other. Huff also could be activated, so the roster's a little bit in a state of flux. Having said that, I think Boch is free to use Scutaro in a number of roles, and we'll discuss that after with him and the staff.
Can you talk about what particularly about Scutaro appealed to you when you look at him as a player? Why does he work on your ball?
Well, it's his versatility, his experience. You know, this is not to disparage players on our team, but you know, you look at the Dodger bench and you look at our bench. A lot of what a manager has to do in close games decides how the game plays out. And also, this guy's been a starting player both sides of the bag. I don't think it's going to threaten Terrio at all, but we do need depth, and hopefully this is the first of a couple of moves. We'll see.
Brian, you mentioned the flexibility that Scutaro gives you. Are you comfortable with him playing third base? He hasn't played there in a number of years.
Well, that's what we're going to discuss too, including with him. You know, this guy's a pretty versatile defensive player. I'd be surprised that he couldn't do it. But again, we'll sit with him tomorrow when he gets here.
Brian, can you just talk about, I mean, you obviously have a good grasp on your ball club and your organization. Are you happy with where you're at in this trade season? Do you feel good about the direction that you're heading? And what is it you're trying to accomplish before the deadline?
There's a narrow focus, and it's been in print or talked about openly. Again, it's deep in the roster. I think anytime you're in this position, and we've seen from past pennant races, to try to win your division, in a division that I think is going to play out right to the last week probably, perhaps with 3 teams, that you need pitching help, and that you need as many players as you can get that have experience and that gives the manager flexibility either in a lineup fashion or as far as extras coming off the bench. You know, it's not a real good year for us to match up for a bigger piece. We found that out early. It's just the nature of how many clubs are involved and how we're constituted, both for this year and next year. Some of that's payroll-wise too.
Brian, with the Dodgers obviously making moves and Ramirez and the difference he made tonight, is there more impetus to make more moves than there was, say, 2 weeks ago?
Well, no, because our business at hand is different than theirs, and we started this process in earnest, or I guess the decision to go forward in certain areas was kind of done as we communicated to clubs before the All-Star break. Once you set that course, that's kind of the course you stay on. With standing injury, which now we've had one, and something else happening. I'm not sure what the deadline activity is going to be. If I were to guess, the 48 hours, the last 48 hours would be pretty busy. I think teams perhaps that don't have clarity will use the weekend to decide, if they're going to be sellers or buyers, and then, quite frankly, there may be some possibilities after the deadline, as we see for past years, if guys get through waivers. But to answer your question, the Dodgers ball club or business plan is different than ours, and they have certain needs, and they have to do their work, we have to do ours.
Ideally, Brian, do you see a target or two that might be gettable that could add some power also to your bench?
Right now, I'm not sure that exists, but we'll flush everything out. But again, maybe that were to come available late, something that we don't know about. a lot of what is bandied about as far as players being available isn't necessarily factual. In fact, teams aren't talking as openly as, let's say, the chatter that, we all hear. So that could change. But at this time, to answer the question, we don't have anything on the front burner.